Then we can start the meeting. The meeting will please come to order. Jane?
Please join me in an attitude of prayer. Dear God, we thank you for your continued presence in our lives and for our country. As we begin to celebrate our 250th birthday, we're surrounded by red, white, and blue. Let us never forget those who served so that we might enjoy freedom. We ask you to keep safe those who presently serve, and we pray for peace throughout all your kingdom. Amen.
I'm delighted today that we have scholarship awards, and I call on Elvira to make the awards, please.
This is a day I always look forward to. I am pleased to recognize the 4 team members who received scholarships during the March application cycle. First, Stormy Haley, who is here, I think. Stormy? I'd like to recognize her, though, even though she isn't here. She's a certified nursing assistant. She was awarded a scholarship for coursework through ODU towards her undergraduate degree. Stormy is a past scholarship recipient. In her recent application, she expressed her deep appreciation for this support, which she says has had a real and lasting impact on her life and education. It has helped her continue working toward her goals while remaining committed to serving Cedarfield residents. She said, "I truly appreciate the confidence and encouragement the committee has shown in me, and I'm honored to be part of that community that invests in the growth and development of its employees." Second, Young Vo, dining server, is he present? Please come forward. And stand beside me. Stand here as I read about you, okay? And then I'll give you your diploma. Young is pursuing an associate degree in nursing through Reynolds Community College. He is pursuing a nursing degree with the goal of expanding his role in caring for the residents at Cedarfield. In his application, it was only after beginning my work at Cedarfield that I truly discovered my purpose and goals. Working at Cedarfield changed my perspective and my future. Being part of a community dedicated to caring for older adults showed me the profound impact compassionate caregivers can have on residents' daily lives. He believes the opportunity will allow him to turn the passion he has discovered through his work into a meaningful long-term career. This is your diploma. Did you get it? Thank you. We have 2 others who have received scholarship money, and I'd like to read to you about them because it's nice to know something about all of the people that work with us. Ann Robinson, a concierge, is taking courses through the National Academy of Sports Medicine to become a certified personal trainer. Ann believes that by obtaining her personal training certification, she will be better equipped to support residents by promoting safe, age-appropriate fitness practices. In her application, she said, I will be able to encourage healthy habits, provide general guidance, and contribute to a wellness of residents. Her goal is to help residents feel more confident, mobile, and empowered in their physical health. And finally, we have Lyric Pride Horn, a dining server who was awarded a scholarship for coursework towards a degree in radiation therapy through VCU. Also a past scholarship recipient, Lyric reports that his education directly impacts the way he cares for and serves Cedar Field's residents. Lyric says radiation therapy training has already taught me the importance of empathy, patience, and communication. He feels the skills he is learning can be applied to interactions with Cedar Field residents, whether he is helping them with care, providing comfort, or simply sharing a conversation to brighten someone's day. Lyric says, I believe that true service goes beyond medical treatment. It's about showing people that they matter and they are valued and their voices are heard. Please join me now in congratulating our outstanding team members for their dedication to Cedar Field.
And thank you for chairing the committee and keeping up with helping all of our team members who do so much for us. Amy?
That's a hard act to follow. A few announcements to share with the group. The first has to do with the census. Our current independent living resident census is 314, which means 314 apartments and cottages have residents living in them. We have many new families moving into Cedar Field over the next few months. 6 new families will join us in June. 6 new families will join us in July. And currently, we already have 7 new families scheduled to move in August. Our maintenance and engineering team has moved. Has anybody found them yet? A few. The maintenance and engineering department have a new home base. It's now located on the 2nd floor next to the entrance to the D wing. Denise, Jack, and the whole team could be found down there. All phone numbers have remained the same, and the space was once the locker room and pool entrance before we did our renovations. That's just a fun fact to share with everybody. The pond is next on my list, and it's still a high priority for campus beautification. We have put out an RFP, which is a request for proposal, to vendors outside of Cedar Field to help us with the upgrades. Once we have selected 2 or 3 viable contractors, we will call the group of residents who serve on the pond committee together to help review their proposals and put a plan into action. Next is the 2026 handbook. The newest version of our handbook has been reviewed and edited and is now available for residents' use. There were only a handful of changes this time, and for those of you who want an entirely new version of the handbook in a hard copy form, we have about 20 copies over there to the left. If you don't get one of those copies and you'd like to receive one, please stop by the concierge desk, and she has created a list, and we will ensure that you get that in your mailbox. For those of you who just want to be alerted to some of the changes that have been made to the previous handbook, there is also a cheat sheet there for you to look at and just add to the handbook that you have now if you don't want an entirely new copy. And lastly, carpet replacement is well underway on the 3rd floor. Please keep in mind that this will affect not only the residents, but also offices that are located on the 3rd floor as well. When the project reaches the offices, we might have some temporary moves, but we'll make sure that you know where you can find us with announcements periodically on 974. Are there any questions? Yes, sir. Oh, waiting, we have a microphone.
Regarding the maintenance office, will the changeover team that's located in the residential area on the fourth floor with their supplies and material that's in the hallways be moved down to the maintenance office to kind of clean that area up?
Yes, that's the plan. They were going to move the maintenance team that are placed throughout the building downstairs in one location so everyone is together. We have a question in the back.
I understand that on the third floor, they're not doing the atrium circle right now. So why do we have the signs on the elevator saying not to get off on that floor?
So they've started that. They started out a little slower this morning than what they had predicted because of the weather and the way the carpet has been delivered. It's delivered flat face down, so the carpet needed to be rolled out. And the only place that they had to do that was outside. We asked them to move to the fellowship hall so that the carpet wasn't damaged, and that made them delay the installation a little bit this morning. Any other questions for me? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Nancy, Cedar Chest.
Since my last report, we've been open twice, and we have taken in $1,680. We're open again tomorrow morning, so please come and shop between 10:30 and 1:30. Also, we're going to have another furniture auction the first week in June, starting, I believe, on the 3rd. So if you, family, or friends need anything, take a look. They'll be in the tunnel area on the second floor through the double doors. Questions?
Would you just tell them what kind of furniture that you accept?
Well, we have some sofas and chairs, some side pieces, cases that could go against the wall. Best thing to do is just wander down there at any time and take a look. There'll be a couple of more pieces that will be moved in before the sale starts. So, questions? Thank you.
Denise, the shop.
I'm just going
You can bring your mic.
I'm going to talk from here if that's okay. I really don't have much of a report today, but I do, as always, want to thank the residents of Cedarfield for supporting our shop and keeping things going. We're always getting new things, and if there are things that we do not have, please let either Carrie know or whoever is working at the desk, and we'll make a note of it and do our best to get it for you. And that's it.
Sally Vacra.
Hi, I have an alert about one of our programs. It's going to be on a Thursday instead of the normal Friday because no one's here as part of the administration to show the films or deal with the speakers. But you're going to like it. Bob Connick is going to show you how to properly use your camera, your phone camera, so that you can take as expert of pictures as he takes. And so it will be June the 18th at 10 o'clock instead of June the 19th. And this is not, well, person-to-person instruction, it's group instruction and using, you know, that kind of technique to teach you. Thank you. Any questions?
For my report today, I'd like to give an area reps report. I want you to know that the area reps are all active in their own areas, But they're not only active in their own areas, they're learning what's going on at Cedarfield, the new philanthropic project, the new, as you all know, OSI project they will be learning about on the 8th, which will be our first quarterly meeting, which will give us a chance to share information. But the thing that is so important with area reps is ask them questions, make suggestions, and share with each other. And then we'll all know more of what's happening and understand what's happening here. So would all of the area reps that are here please stand? Thank you, and thanks for all you're doing to help all of us. And then I'd like to also, I'm sure all of you have seen the Cedarfield Voices, but so much is going on here at Cedarfield, and we don't always think about all we're offering. And some of the stories and the way they're written, thank you, Ro, for all you do, always keeping this going, and it's a great project. Do we have a quorum? And we know there are some additions and corrections to the minutes that went out, starting with the Gardens and Horticulture new title. Are there any other additions or that need to be made to the minutes?
Nancy Miller brought to my attention after those minutes went out that the Cedar Chest report should have said that $4,000 profit had been made in the month of April rather than year to date. And so I would say what's just been added is a nice addition to that. In addition, that group would like to acknowledge Martha Ryder for her continued assistance in selling some of their items on eBay. So I'll make those corrections.
Any other additions or corrections to the minutes as they were sent out? Do I hear a motion to accept them as revised? All in favor? All opposed? Thank you. We're going to start the committee reports in a little different order because Mary Ann has to leave. So would Health Services please come up first?
The Health Services Committee did not meet in the month of May, so I really don't have anything new to add. We will meet in June, and we're working on programs for 26 and 27 currently. Anybody have any questions?
Communications, you saw the new handbook and know that these additions are over here. Dining services. Someone was going to make a report for that. Okay, thank you. I hope he gets well quickly, like all of us. Environmental, Frank? No report. For facilities, Ann is also under the weather and just asked me to report what Amy had said, that the offices of the maintenance and engineering staff have been moved from the 3rd floor to room 200, 2nd floor near the entrance to D Wing. And that was her report. Finance.
The Finance Committee met on April 28th to discuss the financial results for 9 months of the year, which began June 1st, 2025 to February 28th, 2026. David Taylor, the business office manager here at Cedarfield, reviewed the Cedarfield Statement of Activities and compared actual year-to-date with budget to date. I am attaching to the minutes the Cedarfield statement so you can see that. On Cedarfield's Statement of Activities, the total operating revenue was 6% above budget at $37.8 million. The total operating expenses were 4% above budget at $33.1 million. The expenses that were above budget included dining, which was 3%, and building and grounds were 6%. The non-operating charges were 17% below budget and totaled $2.8 million, and this was mainly due to contributions and investment income. The negative was interest expense. The total change in net assets was $1.8 million and above budget. David also presented the capital expenses to date at $5.5 million, with window replacement the largest, followed by resident renovations. Hermitage Capital and Reserve Corporation balance sheet was also given by David, showing assets that total $68 million and liabilities $4.8 million, giving us net assets of $63.2 million, which, remember, this is the fund that helps if there's a decline in a particular area or if we want to do new things. So we're in good shape financially. The next item on the agenda was a review of Cedarfield's projected budget for the fiscal year, the new fiscal year, June 1st, 2026 through May 31, 2027. The resident fees are projected to be $38.8 million. It was a $3.34 million increase. The operating expenses are projected to be $37.95 million, which is a 1.65 increase. The budget cost drivers basically are expected to be wage increases and benefits to team members and information technology, along with some other areas. Cedarfield's capital expenses are projected to be $7 million. James Green from Pinnacle answered questions presented by the committee members as the last item on our agenda. Since Cedarfield is part of the obligated group, and that consists of Cedarfield, Hermitage Richmond, Hermitage Roanoke, Hermitage Three Top, and Hermitage Deep Run, and what questions about their progress were asked. The newest entities, Hermitage Three Top, which is strictly memory care, it's not expected to break even this year. They're doing a lot of capital renovations. But Deep Run, Hermitage Deep Run, which is composed of assisted living and memory care, is expected to break even, as well as Hermitage Richmond. Hermitage Roanoke has not been doing well and is looking to add memory care to improve its enrollment. So overall, our combined group is going pretty well. And then one final note. 2 days after our meeting, the budget information was presented to all of the residents by Cedarfield and Pinnacle, and the increase for the rent was announced. If you don't remember, I think you probably do, 3.75% for independent living. So that is the end of my report. Any questions? Thank you.
Flower Guild, Louisa.
I have just two short things. One of them is to say that when I had shared with y'all that we were kind of doing some changes with the administration of the Flower Guild, and I was looking to fill some holes because we've grown and taken on more responsibility. And the most wonderful thing happened. Two ladies stepped forward and said they would take the captainship of the fourth week of the month. That may not sound like much to you, but it involves a lot of my time formally, and I am utterly relieved. It's such a gift. Dorothy White and Nancy Going are going to take that position, or have, so I'm really, really pleased about that. The other thing was, in looking back at Cedarfield this last week, with the red, white, and blue, and all the emphasis on veterans and what our country means to us all, was a poignant moment for me throughout the campus. When I walked in the front door and saw the red, white, and blue and those flowers, I wanted to stand and salute. Walking down the promenade to dinner, seeing the red, white, and blue in clusters, it was like looking at a battlefield in Europe that's appreciating the gift that has been given. And it touched me so deeply also to see how well the ladies carry out the themes and what they do. We give them the flowers, say, this is your project, and they figure out how to do it. And their work requires daily attention to keep them looking good for a whole week. Doesn't sound like much, but you tour your flowers, you check on them, you take care of them. And I want to make you aware of the gift that is that's being given to you. It's out of love, it's out of professionalism of enjoying a project. But the people who work there are doing a fine, fine job. So thank you when you take time to appreciate them.
And thank you, Louisa, for always being our cheerleader and making everything look like it's so easy. Thank you. Gardens, Roger. Library, Sally.
I will give a pep rally to the library committee members who work so hard, and you know you can help them because it is a communal effort after all. And firstly, how you can report to some key people like Marian Fitzpatrick, books that you've read that are fictions that you have read is underscored. Don't rely on anything that comes from any of the magazines or newspapers because they aren't necessarily good books, unfortunately. But if you've read it or a great friend of yours has read the book, let us know, maybe no older than 3 or 4 years, because we have to keep fiction current to keep it within our definition of what we want to be for Cedarfield. That leads to John Bander, who's in charge of nonfictions. And we've got a huge group of people working with nonfictions because that has been our goal this year, to spend more money on nonfictions. But with it, we want new, good books, because remember, in the past, the only way we had a book on the shelf for nonfiction was it had been given to us. And that meant we had no rhyme or reason to why we had any of those books up there. We want to change that. So if you've read a great nonfiction, it can be from devotional all the way through traditional history books to biographies, blah, blah. Let John Bander know, because we want to spend our money wisely. It's a new effort this year. And then with Sally Myers, Sally Myers is specifically histories. And like above, they both what John Bender does and what Sally Myers does is trying to create a collection that's meaningful, of some worth, some academic worth, but books that people will read. That's the problem. We don't want just something that impresses a bunch of strangers coming through and say, aren't these smart people? They have a copy of this book that no one's read in 25 years. Now, housekeeping matters. And I hate to be like the school marm, but, you know, every once in a while you have to be. Goodness sake, when you read a newspaper, your mother told you to put it back in order and neatly leave it wherever you found it in the condition it was found. Please do that. It's aggravating, especially to me that I come in every day in the morning, or try to, and I spend, you know, not too much time, but it just looks terrible that people have thrown the papers around. And it's really, rather, to tell you the truth, disrespectful. Then, when you take a book out of the library, this is rather novel, and I'm going to get off the school marmy kind of attitude. Be sure to check out the book, and if you would, be sure to return the book. Now, I know Amy told me this had been a problem with Cedarfield since ever, so it's not just us. It's just people forget to do things. And then all of us can be careful. I put out, the committee puts out the tabletop books about every month and a half, and they disappear, never to return. And so it's really become a little bit of a problem. So that's the end of the school marm bit, because we have a wonderful resident group that checks out the library every day and makes it successful. Any questions? Just behave yourself in the future.
Yes, ma'am.
Religious life. Our chaplains, Trish and Madison, along with Margaret, keep our spiritual life alive and well, and we thank them for that, with Sunday services, Shabbats once a month, and various other spiritual things like memorial services. We're thankful. One of the important things that Religious Life Committee does is work with the Angel Fund. And as chairman of this, I thank you very much for your continued contributions, and you will be hearing from us in the future.
Safety, welcoming. Welcome, Virginia.
I thought I had a minute before the next person spoke. Anyway, welcome everybody. Cedarfield welcomes several residents this month, and many more are on the agenda for June. I want to thank my co-chair, Robert, and the ambassadors who greeted and worked with the new arrivals this May. You all know that losing a spouse and moving are among the most stressful times in one's life. I personally am happy to be living here, but of course, if I could change that and move back in time, I would. However, we are all here and are very privileged to be a part of this wonderful community. We live among many very interesting and accomplished people. I was recently asked to contact a potential resident about moving to Cedarfield. She was very unsure about what to expect and if she would be welcomed and comfortable here. While talking to her on the phone, I assured her that Cedarfield had a 95% satisfaction rating by the residents. And then she asked me over the phone, what did the other 5% say? And I said, I don't know. And she responded by saying, when you find out, please let me know. That's my report. Thank you, everybody.
Wellness and leisure, Nancy. Welcome back.
Thank you. That was a hard act to follow. I don't have any comedy routine. I just have one thing from our committee. You all are familiar with the resident run clubs and interest group brochures or booklet that you all have. And it's this time of year that we are going to be revising and updating that booklet. So I'd like all of you who are the contact people for any of the groups listed in that booklet to be aware that someone from the Wellness and Leisure Committee will be contacting you just to make sure you're still the contact person and to just go over with you what's listed in that booklet to make sure it's still accurate. The plan is for that booklet to be ready in time for our the showcase that we'll be having in September that we have every 2 years. It will be ready, it probably will be ready before that, but the goal is to have it ready by September. I think I have a subcommittee that's working on that, and we met today, and I think we're really moving forward with some nice new changes to that booklet. So that's about all that's new from our committee this month. Questions? Yes, Robert. Oh.
With the changes to the reservation systems and everything and the no-shows, has the changes to how the no-shows are being charged for the trips improved or reduced the number of no-shows?
I don't think necessarily it's the fact that they're being charged. No one's ever complained about being charged for something that they didn't show up for. I think what's helping is the reminders that our committee is putting together and handing out a couple of days before every activity. And we think we're going to be expanding that to not just the outside activities that require the bus, but also maybe to some activities on campus that you had to make a reservation for. We're thinking of expanding it into that. But so far it's going very well. We did discuss at our last meeting, and I should thank you for bringing that up, a reminder, if you cancel a trip by calling Catron, that's great. But would you please also go into the mailroom and open the book and cross your name off the bus? Recently, a resident reported to me that they were going on a trip and one person wasn't there. But when that person was called on the phone, they said, well, I canceled with Catron this morning, but Catron obviously didn't have time to run down there and cross that person's name off. So if you cancel a reservation for any kind of for a trip that requires the bus, please just go in and cross your name off the book, because they were waiting for that person to show up and they didn't. And that's another, my normal PSA, public service announcement is, if you want to go on a trip, just show up, because in that particular instance, there was a seat on the bus and you could have taken it. So, any other questions? Thank you.
There is no unfinished business, and under new business, I'd like to call on Paul to give us our process on the resident on the Pinnacle Board.
Thanks, Helen. Helen asked me a few days ago if I'd update folks on where we stand with the resident on the Pinnacle Board of Directors initiatives. And it's hard when you have an assignment of that broad, making the appropriate assumptions on who knows what and when did they know it. So starting with the first slide, I just wanted to briefly mention that House Bill number 476 was passed by the General Assembly in March of this year and then signed by Governor Spanberger on April 13th. The new law will be effective the 1st of July. There are a number of provisions in this statute and in this law, but the key one as respects Cedarfield is that there is a provision that grants independent living residents of Virginia-based CCRCs the right to representation on the provider's board of directors in a non-voting advisory capacity. In the case of Cedarfield, our provider is Pinnacle Living. And so what this means is that the residents, the independent living residents of Cedarfield have the right to choose a representative from Cedarfield to sit on the Pinnacle Board of Directors going forward from the 1st of July in a non-voting advisory capacity. If anyone needs a full copy of the bill or has more questions about the particular statutes or provisions within the bill, you can contact our friends at VACRA, or we have copies of the legislation if you really want to get into the detail. But as respects Cedarfield, this is the primary provision. So what Helen has done, on slide 2, if I could, Delonte, she has approached the President's Cabinet and asked our President's Cabinet to serve as a nominating committee or a nominating task force to identify and to help interview and make recommendations on candidates, resident candidates that would be appropriate for this position. Ann Williams has been elected chairperson of that group, and the other members, the other past presidents of the resident council that will be serving with Ann are listed here on this slide. So my third and final slide is basically a timetable or a summary of what's going to happen between now and July 1st over these next 33 or 34 days as we select a resident candidate to become our representative to the Pinnacle Board. If any resident has any interest in the position or would like to know more about the particulars, we are encouraging them to contact Ann Williams no later than 1 week from today by June 3rd to express interest in the position. Over the next 2 weeks after that, beginning the week of Monday, June 1st, the nominating committee will meet with individual interested candidates, and they'll be sharing things like job descriptions, the number of board meetings, the possible locations of board meetings, the standing committees, committee assignments, committee responsibilities within the Pinnacle environment, and reporting expectations back to our community here at Cedarfield. On Monday, June 22nd, just outside the resident mail room, right down the hallway here, we hope to post candidate bios that will be on the bulletin board for everyone to view and everyone to have access. And I believe we're going to also include those in summary fashion on channel 974. So the candidates that are interested and have been vetted by the nominating committee will be posted during that process on June 22nd. When this meeting convenes for our regularly scheduled meeting on June 24th, there will be a final report from the nominating committee with their recommendations, and there will also be instructions shared with the community on how the voting process will take place here at Cedarfield. The early meeting that we had with the nominating committee, everyone felt that it was important, if at all possible, to avoid Mondays and Fridays because a lot of our residents are not here at Cedarfield on those days. So we selected a morning and an afternoon on a Tuesday and a Thursday after this meeting on the 24th of June. There'll be one voting session on Thursday, the 25th of June, and a second voting session on Tuesday, the 30th of June. At this point, and we will confirm that back to everyone, we intend to use the gathering place just down the hall as our voting location right across from the bank. There will be ballots in that room. You'll come in and identify yourself as an independent living resident here at Cedarfield. We'll check your name off the box, hand you a ballot, just like when you come to vote right here in Fellowship Hall, and you'll walk to the other side of the room, fill out the ballot, drop it in the box. The voting will close on Tuesday, the 30th. We will have 3 people independently count those ballots and tally the results, and we'll report them back to the community the following day on July 1st. The nominating committee hopes to tackle this work quickly and efficiently, and most importantly, in a professional manner. And they hope to begin the process at the beginning of next week on the 1st of June. We don't have all of the details because many of this is going to be left up to the folks on the nominating committee, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have at this point as best I can. There's a question all the way in the back, Denise.
Has anybody had any discussions with Pinnacle Living about how what our person on the board would be allowed to participate in? In other words, if they have an advisory committee meeting in Wise, Virginia, that they're having it out there for a specific purpose, would we be allowed to participate in that also? In advisory capacity, I don't know the answer to that. Each meeting, I assume, would, if it were a board meeting, yes, and special board meetings are called from time to time. But to answer the first part of your question, Ted, we have met with Chris Henderson on multiple occasions over the last 3 weeks. Chris has vowed to us that he understands the new law, and he will make every effort to make certain that it works for all parties. And we were very pleased to hear that. I'll be happy to stick around after the meeting if anybody else has any additional questions. Thank you very much.
Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting? All in favor? All opposed? The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.